it feels like we're making a pretty big investment by staying here and paying these tax rates and agreeing to these fees for dollars that go back into the building.
Now at 6, the new owner of the Blazers saying he doesn't think he should help pay for the upgrades to the Moda Center, why he's arguing for the project to be fully publicly funded.
And nearly 24 rural hospitals in Oregon are now getting millions of dollars in state and federal funds to keep their labor and delivery units running. Why upcoming Medicaid cuts were putting those services in jeopardy. Ahead in a live report. Plus.
My turn now? All right. Are you going to do it with me or am I doing it myself? You do it with me? All right. Awesome. Let's do it together. All right. Collins, you ready? Collins, ready? Go.
So that's my friend Collins. I was just a little bigger. See, this is what I'm talking about. The lane, very small. We learned how to swim in preparation for the world's largest swim lesson. Why today's event is about more than just fun in the pool, coming up as your news at sunrise starts right now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us on your Thursday. I'm China Green. You should have let Collins win.
It wasn't a race. We're just...
In her mind,
it was. I'm Matthew Herchik, by the way. Rod Hill and Chris McGinnis.
Scarred for life.
Rod, do you see what I was talking about there? Okay.
Yes.
I was like two strokes and I'm there.
I love that story, though, because it brings up an old childhood memory of mine that I can remember how, it's kind of frightening when you're first learning how to swim, right?
Yeah.
And you're in this bunch of water and you're really not sure what you're doing. And anyway.
Yeah, just getting in can be scary for little ones.
Is that a metaphor for life?
Perhaps. Certainly for weather forecast. Is it really going to snow? I said it was. Is it really going to snow? All right, here's our reserve golf course camera out from the Explore Tualatin Valley location. We're highlighting the incoming clouds this morning, which visually is the sign that this cooler weather pattern is also coming in. You can see the clouds now increasing into downtown Portland. We're at 57. It's a nice morning. We are dry out there. We have the clouds coming in. It'll be cloudy all day. We're still projecting some evening scattered showers. It looks mostly like scattered light showers at this point. And look at the temperatures this afternoon. 73 at 2 o'clock, 74 at 5 o'clock. We call that, are you ready? A cool down. Here's Chris.
Rod went to weather school to learn that phrase. All right, let's go ahead and pick up the drive right now this morning. We're mostly in pretty good shape out there. We had some earlier road work here up near 179th Street. That on-ramp has reopened to I-5 southbound, so some good news there. We'll switch gears real quick. Door number 2 takes us over to I-5 near the City Center exit. Overnight road work here has finally wrapped up. All lanes are open, so traffic flowing freely there. And back over to Northeast Portland. We had a crash here. There you can see the residual from the cleanup on Northeast Airport Way. This is just east of I-205 near Holman. That's clear. Traffic is rolling okay. And so far, guys, no major freeway trouble out there just yet.
Thank you, Chris. Well, this morning we start at the Moda Center, at the center of the high-stakes fight over who should pay to renovate it. New Blazers owner Tom Dutton is making his position clear. He believes taxpayer dollars, not more money from him or his ownership group, should help foot the bill.
Yeah, so the city owns Moda and has to approve a deal by December to unlock state and county funding. Eva Watson was there yesterday as Rip City's future seemingly hangs in the balance.
Above the Moda Center floor, New Blazers owner Tom Dundon promised one thing. It's a New Blazers era, and he won't tank for better draft picks.
Sounds terrible. They're trying to lose a little bit, and I'm not doing that. So if we'll try to win.
Dundon spoke at the Portland Metro Chamber's annual meeting. Most of the questions,
when you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Were far from hard-hitting.
How do you kick back? How do you relax?
But with the city locked in negotiations with the Blazers over a Moda Center renovation, Dundon explained why he doesn't believe he should pay for part of an arena upgrade, arguing for full public funding.
It feels like we're making a pretty big investment by staying here and paying these tax rates and agreeing to these fees for dollars that go back into the building. It's not that we're taking the money. So.
Portland Mayor Keith Wilson wants the city to chip in at least $120 million. He criticized city council members, saying their indecision will only raise that cost.
But we're slowing this down now. We expected to be doing construction this summer. So I want us to say we can't take our foot off the gas and overthink and over talk.
A Moda Center renovation could include opportunities to develop the surrounding Albina community, a historically black neighborhood that was torn apart by decades of urban planning. Albina Vision Trust Director Winta Johannes shared her development vision to hundreds of city leaders.
Preventing a mothballed arena is not brave leadership. It is the floor for meeting our collective minimum responsibility.
While some fans and Portlanders are pushing back on using public funds for the Moda Center, Wilson argues it's the city's responsibility, saying he's told NBA Commissioner Adam Silver that Portland will get it done, with a few expectations for the future.
We say, okay, we're going to do this, but we need the All-Star game. We need the WNBA All-Star game. We are talking about this in fixed terms. It's
Evan Watson, KGW News.
Money for our schools!
Yeah, so while Dundon was addressing business leaders inside the Moda Center, this was happening outside. A rally with 50 or so people calling for more private investment, and 3 city councilors, all up for re-election, were among those pushing back.
I am definitely looking for more private funding. People will say that we own this building, we should be paying for all of it, but this is the source of value for the owner of the team, and so it makes sense for him to also meet us in the middle on an investment here.
City Council is now working toward a broad outline on a Moda lease to guide negotiations.
Well, less than 2 months before owners plan to shutter the Lloyd Center, some community members are making that last-ditch effort to save it. The group spoke to city councilors yesterday advocating for changes to a development plan approved earlier this year. That plan calls for the demolition of the 60-year-old mall and its ice rink in favor of mixed-use housing and 6 acres of parks, plazas, and public spaces.
We don't think that chucking a mall that was redeveloped 10 years ago or remodeled 10 years ago and has served our community for over 60 years should just be chucked into our local landfills.
Owners of the mall are urging council to approve the master plan, calling the Lloyd Center no longer economically viable. Council plans to take vote on July 8th, 1 month before the mall is set to close.
Well, new this morning, nearly 24 state hospitals will receive millions in state and federal funds for labor and delivery care before Medicaid cuts go into effect next year.
Our John Adams joins us live this morning in Southwest Portland. So, John, what hospitals will this money be going to?
Yeah, China and Matthew, this is going to go towards 21 rural hospitals across the state of Oregon, all of which offer labor and delivery services. Now, most of these hospitals are 50 miles or more away from the closest birthing center. The $37 million in funding comes as many rural hospitals face the reality of closing down labor and delivery services, which often cost more to operate than the money they bring in. Oregon officials describing this as a short-term buffer against financial pressures rural hospitals are facing. Cuts in the One Big Beautiful bill passed last year in Congress are expected to wipe out roughly $11 billion in federal support for Oregon's Medicaid program over the next 5 years. That's according to the governor's office. Rising costs, staffing shortages, and changes to Medicaid eligibility and spending have all put the viability of many rural hospitals at risk. And despite this funding, many hospital leaders are still worried that this is just a short-term stopgap and that other changes will be made in the future to have to preserve these services. Back to you.
Reporting live this morning, John, thank you very much. Meanwhile, Oregon will shell out $49 million to settle a lawsuit over how the Department of Corrections handled the COVID-19 pandemic. The lawsuit covers around 5,000 people who were in custody between February of 2020 and June of 2022. It alleges the state violated the 8th Amendment rights of those in custody by failing to protect them from heightened exposure to COVID. Governor Kotek and the state DOJ decided that settling was in the state's best financial interest. The settlement still needs approval from a judge and the state legislature.
The CDC is expected to end its hantavirus response. The 42-day quarantine period for the 18 U.S. citizens who were potentially exposed to the virus on the cruise ship in the Atlantic ended on Sunday. The Department of Health and Human Services says there are no confirmed cases tied to the cruise in the U.S. overall. 13 cases have been reported among international patients in connection to the outbreak, and 3 people have died. But global health officials are still working to figure out the exact source of the exposure. cute. Another red panda has just been added to the Oregon Zoo family. Meet Lou. Lou is a 6-year-old male who came from Ohio. Woo. This is video of him exploring his outdoor area for the first time yesterday morning. Lou means willow in Mandarin, a tribute to his mother. Caregivers hope to introduce Lou to the zoo's female red panda, Inoki, in the coming days with the hope that they will eventually reproduce.
He's just a little guy for
He's
6 years
so
old.
Cute. I wonder if he's a cuddler. Does he cuddle?
You know, really beautiful, right? Well, we wonder. I don't know. You let us know, China.
You
go to the
you
zoo.
go test it out and report back.
You let us know.
Deep journalism.
Instead of sun and 90s, we're going to have clouds and 70s, and eventually this evening we'll get into some rain shower activity. So the cloudiness is coming in already, so we shortly will not be seeing any more sun today. This is 5 o'clock, showing the wave of scattered, mostly light showers starting to move into our area. Right now you see the clouds over the West Hills. If you look at the Oregon Zoo live, 55 degrees is the temperature. Here are the clouds. Well, you can't really tell that much from this direction. The clouds are coming in from the west, and we're looking off at Mount Hood to the east from the Vancouver, the Springs to the waterfront location. In Vancouver, temperature 56. It's a nice morning out there. Here are the temperatures with what is increasingly becoming overcast at this hour. 52 out in Sherwood, 57 in Gresham, 54 up in Camas. Canby's 58, 50 though out in Dallas, and Corvallis at 49, so we have some cool spots. The map this afternoon, cloudiness increasing and overtaking the Cascades, Central Oregon, and then increasing out east as well. Temperature is about 80 in Pendleton and Burns and Baker City, but 70s in Central Oregon, and maybe struggling with the cloudiness thickening up this morning to get up into the 70s here in the valley. Could be some at least sprinkles or traceable amounts of moisture developing this afternoon at the coast. It looks like we'll probably stay dry until we get into the evening hours here in the valley. And then we've got only 60s tomorrow with showers, heavier showers, 64 Saturday, a lingering shower threat on Sunday, but a day that could be mainly dry. And then we'll keep it down into the 70s, considered below normal for this time of the year as we start next week. That's your forecast.
Thank you, Rod.